Okay, so I posted a poll in the Master the Game Facebook group. If you're not a part of it yet, head on over to Facebook, type in Master the Game. You'll see that I have a page and a group. Like the page and head on over to the group and join it. We do polls and stuff like that there all the time. But I did a poll today, or not today, yesterday, asking if you, as a player, create backup characters. With 3 responses. One is no. The second one is yes, but no more than one. And the third one is yes, I make multiple. More than one. And I was a little surprised with the results, to be honest. The results were 90% said no, they don't make backup characters. And 10% do. Now, really, that was 10 people. One person said they'll make a backup character, and 9 said they don't, which I thought was interesting. And I know, for example, there's this moment sometimes with certain players when they die in a campaign. I've seen players say, fine, I'll just make a new character, and they're all upset. And I've seen other players be like, okay, I'll just make a new character. And they spend the next 30 to 45 minutes making a character, interrupting the play sometimes to ask a DM a question while they create their character. And, me, I have a folder full of characters. Like, I can just pull a character out at any time so I can just jump into a game. But I wonder, should people make backup characters more often? Because it doesn't mean you're necessarily looking forward to the next character, so you want to kill this one off. But, because I come from the mindset these days that it's a collaborative storytelling or a narrative thing, there are times where I play a character and I feel like I've accomplished all I wanted with that character. So them dying isn't the worst thing in the world. Now, that doesn't mean I try to get them killed or anything like that. But if they die, I'm not going to be upset about it. If I feel like I've explored them as much as I wanted to, they've evolved as much as I wanted them to. An example. When I played in the Provokers, I really loved my cleric. Loved Brasswick Feeblehammer. Still to this day is probably my most fond, favorite character I've ever played. Throughout that campaign, there was some discussions between Matt and I about things that we wanted for our character, and he did that with all the players. And a couple of my ideas got shot down for what I wanted out of my character, and at one point, I kind of was just like, well, let's just kill him off. At some point, like, let's come up with a good way for him to die. I even had at one point a suggestion to him, like, well, maybe Brasswick is already a spirit, and nobody knows about it, and maybe there's a way we can have the audience and the other players find out at some point. Matt didn't like that idea, but the ultimately the thing is I felt like with Brasswick I had done all I could with him anyway. At one point I kind of wanted to dabble with, at the end actually, I was like, okay, well, let's dabble with some darker stuff. Let's get into like blood magic and stuff like that. And once I came up with that, I got excited about him again. So it kind of brought me back into it. But the thing that made me think about this, though, is I'm playing in Tomb of Annihilation. This is my second time playing a Tomb of Annihilation campaign. The first time, I think I had 2 characters die, maybe just one. I had one. It was Dane Fireforge died, and then Kilgore was my backup. Kilgore Fireforge, his brother. First one was a warlock. Second one was a fighter. So, yeah. And we ended up getting to Firefinger, and the campaign died. At least, or maybe they just split off our group. I don't remember how it went down. I think the campaign died. Right now I'm playing in it. My wife's running it. We are going to Camp Righteous, and I am playing a Blue Dragonborn Tempest Cleric. And I like him. He's cool. But my wife said something the other day, like, oh, I don't know if you're going to be able to make it through this. It'll depend on what you guys do. And I was like, oh, shoot, what's that mean? like, are we going to get killed by a bunch of raptors. Like, what's going on here? So I was like, you know what? I'll make a backup character. That way, if my character dies, it's okay. I can continue to play within 5 minutes. I don't have to sit there and make... And plus, I was on D&D Beyond, and D&D Beyond is really easy to create characters. So I decided to make a backup character. I made a barbarian Goliath that I think will be a lot of fun to play in Tomb of Annihilation. Haven't rolled stats yet. I'm going to do that here once I'm done with this video. Just, again, so I have something as a backup character. Now, my Dragonborn, I think, is really cool. I rolled really poorly. His stats are below the point buy or standard array, which is funny because a bunch of people are like, you should just take the point buy or standard array then. And they claim the book says you can. Maybe it does. I don't know. Don't care. My whole thing, even when I let players roll, is if you want to roll, you have to use what you roll. And we do 46, drop the lowest place where you want. I feel like that's fine. You're more likely to get above the point by standard array anyway. So I always, say, hey, if you roll, that's what you have to do. You have to play with the dice. If you want to do point buy up front, that's fine. But I also do an honor system, so if people screwed with their stats, it doesn't matter. Anyways, I'm so off topic. But I guess my point is if you're playing, especially D&D, I feel like making at least one backup character is smart. Because, again, it's going to keep the game flowing. You're not going to have to stop the game mid-session to make a character and interrupt the group who's still playing. I feel like it's the responsible way to play. And this is a very new thought for me. You guys might disagree. Something, too, that, because when you're playing with your first character or your current character, you kind of know what's going on with the campaign. So I feel like you could easily tie a new character's backstory to the campaign as you've learned stuff. Like, for example, we know there's a death curse in Tomb of Annihilation. Maybe this next character is here and already investigating the death curse. Heck, maybe my current character can reference this other character. Like, hey, I heard, I found this. It mentions this character. I don't know, just foreshadowing another character. Maybe that character never shows themselves. Who knows? Maybe that's a little much for some groups. But I think the responsible thing is making a backup character. So if you have a TPK, you can... The DM can take 5-10 minutes and figure out what they want to do and plop your new group in somewhere. Or, you can pick up where you left off and just hand wave it, or however you want to do it. If maybe it's not a TPK, maybe everyone but one character dies. Now these players discover this other adventuring party in the woods that maybe saved the one character. Or maybe your adventuring party saves this new character who was out in the woods by themselves, or jungle. I don't know. It's just something I was thinking about. I feel like when you have especially Tomb of Annihilation, where it's deadlier than most games, I think it just makes sense to have at least one backup character. But I don't think it hurts to have multiple backup characters. You don't have to tie them to a specific setting. You can be general and broad enough that you can plop them into any setting. Whether it's, maybe you make a couple tweaks. Like, oh, I made this character to be more of a city character. Well, tweak it a little. It's not hard to tweak a couple skills or abilities or spells. So, or weapons or whatever. So anyways, that's just my thought, on backup characters. Hopefully this opens your guys' eyes up to making backup characters. Maybe there's a reason you don't like making backup characters. I'd love to hear it. Leave that in the comments below. I am Juice. This is Master of the Game. Game on.